Welcome friends, hope you all are fine. I am also fine. So we were discussing Android in our lectures, okay, video lectures, and it is a series of video lectures that I have been sharing to you and you are watching. Okay, in my previous video I have demonstrated syllabus application number 44. Let me remind you that this application was about SQLite database operations, but in that application number 44 of your syllabus, first of all we have implemented insert operation, okay, and after implementing this insert operation in another layout we have performed a search operation, okay. So we were searching a particular record depending on the criteria which was entered by the client, okay. So that was it. Now today we are going to have a session on another interesting topic of Android. We have already discussed it in our theory lectures, and somewhat it is related to SQLite database also. The topic is, my friends, it is content provider. So as you can see, content provider. So as we have discussed in theory lectures and theory videos, that content provider itself is a SQLite database, okay. It is one application. Content provider is one application which is having some data, okay, of some particular thing. For example, there is a content provider of context, okay. As we know that in device there is an application of context, so all the data of context are stored in context content provider. Very similarly, there are call logs. There is call log application on the device. All the calls information, either it is received call, it is missed call, or a dialed number or call, all the information of all the calls on the device is stored in a content provider which is known as call log content provider. For another example I would like to give is media store content provider. All the media data, for example image is also media, then music, audio files are also media, video files are also media. All this media data is stored inside a database. So actually these files are not stored in the database, but the information of this file is stored in the database. File will be actually available at some physical location on the device, but the references and their informations are stored in the database. So there are many such content providers available, okay. Internally it is, all these are database, and as we know that there are several operations which can be performed on the database. So there are several built-in such database, or we can say such content providers are available in Android, and Android is making no difference between native application and the third-party application. So our application can also access this interesting data of these content providers which are already available in the operating system. So if our application want to access the data of content provider, it can access, okay. So in this video we are going to discuss about implement about content providers, but before that let me remind you that when we are talking about content provider, the name itself says that I am a provider. For what? Content. Content means data. It is providing some data which it is having. If it is having calls data, it is calls content provider. If it is having context data, it is context content provider, okay, etc. But when we are talking about content provider, there are two viewpoints, two angles from which we can be using this word content provider. In our application, the first thing is that we may become a user of content provider. For example, I have told you that there are many such native content providers whose data our application can access. So in that manner we are using content provider. Content provider is already available, but we are using its data. So we are the user, we can become a user of content provider, and as we know that, as I told you, it is itself a SQLite database. We can read its data, we can add new data if we have proper permissions, okay. Yeah, permissions are needed for many such, because these are the information which is available on client's device and it may be personal to the client. So without asking or without taking permission of the client, we cannot modify it, okay. Also for reading, yeah, context are personal information, so for reading also we need permission. For example, if we want to read context data, we need permission read context, otherwise we cannot read it. Okay, so the first viewpoint is that we are the user, we can become a user of content provider and we can access, update if we have proper permissions. The next viewpoint is that our application itself become a content provider. It means we will provide data. Our application has some database in which it has its data, and if we find that our data may be useful to some other applications running on the same device, okay, in that case our application can become content provider. We will define in manifest file that we are the provider. We will define the URI, it means the address where our database is available. It can be, it is possible. So another viewpoint is that we are the provider, other applications will access our data. Okay, so in this session we are just going to discuss basic things of this content provider. Yeah, we will learn, you can see, we will learn, yes, reading data. It is the basic thing, reading data of the content provider and writing data to the content provider. So in this case we are the user, we will become the user of some content provider, and we will see how can we read or access the data of content provider, as well as we will also see how can we add new data if we have proper permission, how can we add new data to the content provider. So let us start this application and demonstration. It may happen that I will be recording this video in two phases, because if the length of the video increases, I will record first video for reading the data from the content provider, and in another video I will demonstrate you how can we add data to the content provider. So without wasting time, let's start, my dear friends. Hello everyone, welcome back, welcome to my video. And as you may think that, yeah, I'm enjoying, it's Sunday, it's a sunny day, also the season is of monsoon, so environment is looking so much good and the climate is also very sunny and enjoyable. So but we have many work to do. Okay, so we have to live this climate and we have to live this environment. We will be back here also, but let's move to the business. Okay, so as we know that our business is Android and we are discussing this content provider, so we have to implement this content provider. Okay, the two aspects that we have discussed in our theory, and I have told you in the beginning of this video that the two aspects that we can do with content provider, either we can become a content provider or we can use some other content providers data. So in this video we are going to implement a user, our application will be user of content provider. Okay, and the two basic operations which we will be performing on content provider are reading and writing. So without wasting time, let's move to that. Okay, so as I told you that the two basic operations are read and write. First of all, we will implement reading operation on content provider, sorry. So for reading, what will we do? We will be taking in consideration context content provider, as there are many native content providers already available in Android. We will be using here context content provider, and as you can see here that application number 40 says that we have to implement content provider, context content provider. So in this example we will be taking that definition of your syllabus. So we will be also take example and we will take demo of context content provider, and we will be also implementing the syllabus application. Okay, that is application number 40 of your syllabus. Okay, so for reading the data of content provider, what will we do here? We will take a list view. As you can read here, we will take a list view and we will show all the records, we will show all the context of the content provider in a list view within our application. Okay, and for displaying the records of content provider, see, content provider internally is a SQLite database. Okay, so we must be very much sure about which columns we need to retrieve. For that we should know the name of the columns or the ID of the columns, sequence number, okay, number of the index of the column. But as we have not built this table, and let me tell you that all these content providers table structure may have little change in each versions of Android. So depending on the versions of Android, if you are accessing index, if you are accessing columns by index, you must be very much sure about which API level you are using, and on what API level device your application is running. After then only you can use index. Okay, otherwise it may mislead you. Okay, so here what will we do? Instead of using index, we will retrieve the index by column name. Okay, or we can directly access the column by their name. So name of the columns are predefined, and whenever we are using content provider for any particular API level, we should refer the documentation of that particular API level, and we should identify what is the name of the columns. Okay, what are the name of the columns of that particular content provider? Then only we can easily read that column. Okay, so in this example we have to as we will show all the records of contact content provider in our list view. There are many columns available in context content provider. All these columns may not be fit in our single list view item. Here what will we do? We will read two columns of the content provider. Okay, that will be name and mobile number of particular contact. Okay, and we will be displaying these two things of each record in the context content provider in our list view. Understand? So as you can see here that two columns are to be read and put in the list view. These two columns are ID, which will represent the phone number associated with a particular contact, and the second thing is display name. So both these columns will be read by us. Okay, and we will put this in the list view. Now for putting this data of context content provider in a list view, what should we do? Very simple, because that content provider internally is a database, SQLite database, and we know the mechanism of how to view the records of SQLite database table in a list view. Same mechanism. We have two options. Either we can extend base editor class and implement our own coding or implementation. And the next way, very simple, very easy, simple cursor adapter, by using a simple cursor adapter. But we know that simple cursor adapter requires a particular field to be available in the cursor. Okay, and that field is underscore ID. One more thing I would like to tell you that even though content provider is a database, but to query that database of content provider, we need a special class, that is content resolver. Okay, as we were doing with the SQLite database, we were using object of SQLite database. Here we will be using object of content resolver. Okay, similar methods which we have used with SQLite database are also available in the content resolver. So we will be doing that thing. Okay, you can see in this code that resolver is used, resolver dot query, to retrieve the columns of retrieve all the records of the content provider. Resolver is used, resolver dot query. Similar arguments are to be passed as we were passing to the query method of SQLite database. Okay, so let's move to the coding and let's implement this code. Let's define our layout with the list view, and let's first of all show all the records of context content provider with which two columns. Okay, let's move to the coding. Okay, so let's have this coding part. See, this is, yeah, it is our activity. Okay, and it is activity 18, and its layout we will define a layout for this activity, but before that let me define a layout for my list view item. Okay, and I will, what will I do? Yeah, new layout resource file, and I will name it as contact, sorry, I have to name in small letter, contact underscore view. Okay, and I will have it as linear, sorry, I will put it as relative layout. Okay, fine, it is relative layout. So it is relative layout. I have to define two text views here. I have to put two text views. Text view 1, which will be for contact name. I will set is height and width as web content. Okay. Then I also have to give ID. I should give ID as txt name. Okay, because I will be showing here name of the contact. Let me have text size also set to 25 dp and text color also set to red dark. Okay, one more thing, text style I would set to bold. Okay, now as it is relative layout, I should set the margins also 10 dp. Okay, let's see where it appears. It is appearing over here. Let me write some text also, so we will be more clear that where this text is appearing. Okay, so here I will be putting some text like display name. Okay, it is good, looking good, it is good. Okay, it is appearing. Now I will put another name here, another text view. It will be for, it is for number, it is for number. Okay, so in this manner we have put two text views. Here it will be, I will set text view or text as contact number, but I also need to set this on the right side. Sorry. Align right parent true. Okay, and I will set the size of the font to 15. I will set the color to blue. Okay, so in this manner we have defined two columns. Okay, list view with two text views to show the two columns of the table, and we can also set the gravity of this second item. We can set its gravity as center. Okay, so it may be or right justified. If you want to make it right justified, then right. Okay, fine. Okay, let it make it right only. Okay, So in this way we have two columns in our layout, which is to be used in list view. Okay, so it is the layout which we will be using for each item in the list view. In other words, each record which we will retrieve from the context content provider. Okay, so let's move ahead and let's define the layout of our activity. Okay, in our activity, yeah, it is activity 18, so layout is layout 18. In this layout we will be using linear layout, yes, and we will put one list view. Okay, id list context. Okay, and height match parent, width also match parent, margin I should set 15 dp. Okay, divider height 5 dp, divider enable true. Okay, list view is available and it is shown on the our layout, as you can see. id is also given. So now what should we do once we have list view defined? Now in our activity we should query to the contact content provider and we should fetch the records which we will retrieve as a cursor, and from that cursor object we will read records one by one, and each record will have two columns which is retrieved from the query. Okay, and we will be showing these two columns in our two text views. Okay, so let's move to the activity without wasting time. Activity. Okay, now in this activity we will be defining list view. Okay, yeah, it is list view. Okay, let me name it as list view and simple cursor adapter. Okay, adapter, and then next is let me first of all retrieve the list view here. List view is equal to list view find view by id r.id dot list context. Now next thing that we would retrieve is defined, that is adapter is equal to. Okay, but before cursor adapter we should define a cursor. We should retrieve a cursor which will contain the records of the context content provider. So let's see the code that we have discussed earlier in this video. Okay, what is the code to be implemented? Yeah, cursor is to be retrieved from the query method. Okay, resolver.query. So first of all we should define content resolver. Okay, which we will use to query the contact content provider. Okay, here content resolver is equal to get content resolver. To retrieve first of all content resolver, the method get content resolver is to be used. Okay, so we should also mention here retrieve
resolver as follow. The method of activity get content resolver is used to retrieve content resolver. Okay. Now next thing we will do here is we need to query the content provider. So cursor is equal to content resolver dot query. Okay. The first argument to be passed is first argument to be passed is URI of the content provider. Our content provider in this case is context contract dot context dot content URI. Second argument is the columns which we need to retrieve, that is an array is to be passed, string array. Okay, and the columns, the name of the columns in which we are interested will be passed as argument context contract dot context dot underscore ID, then context contract dot context dot display name. Okay. Then the remaining arguments we will pass just as null, because we don't need to set any other thing. That's right. Okay. So in this manner cursor will be retrieved, and let's check what this cursor has returned us. So just for testing we will write here number is equal to cursor dot get string of 0, then again string name equal to cursor dot get string 1, and we will be displaying in a toast, okay, that both these things, number equal to number plus slash n, name equal to name. Okay, just for example we are passing both displaying just we are both these things. So okay, but before that we need to verify whether cursor contains any record or not. Get count is not equal to 0, means if cursor contains records, okay, then only we will read them, and before reading we should, what should we do? Yeah, what should we do? Before reading we should move to first. Okay, this much. All this thing is done in on create method of our application. So let's execute this code and check it whether it is running as expected or not. Okay, let's run it. So as you can see, we have just implemented our code, and we have just tried to read records of the content provider, context content provider. We have very similarly we have query as we were querying to the SQLite database which was made by us. Okay, so just we will see the code we have written. We will test it. We have just read two columns from the context content provider, that is underscore ID and name. One more thing, when we will use simple cursor adapter, it requires one column to be always available in the cursor, and that column is underscore ID. So if this column is not available in our table or the cursor, we should add it, or we can do one thing, we can retrieve some other column with the same name, alias name, as we were doing in the SQLite database. Okay, because it is required column, so we have to make it available to the simple cursor adapter, otherwise it will not read the records. Okay, now when this application will run on the AVD, what will it do? It will check for the context available in the AVD, but in the AVD initially there are no contexts available. So to test this application successfully, we should add some context in this AVD, so our application can be tested successfully. Okay, as you can see, the application is on its way to be installed, and once it is installed, let's see what it shows. Okay, yeah, it is installed successfully, and there is some run. What is the problem? Problem is that we are trying to read context of the device which belongs to the user. Okay, so for that, contexts are the private information of the client. We should take permission. So in my manifest file, I have to take permission from the client, use this permission, and that is read context. Okay, if we have this permission available, then only we can read context of the device on which our application is running. Again, for writing to the context, we need again another permission, which is write context. Okay, because the record which we will insert in the content provider context is again the personal information of the client, which we should modify or write to after taking the permission. Otherwise, Android will refuse us to execute such code. Again, if you remember, while discussing messaging applications, means telephony API and location based services, we were implementing the permissions in two ways. We were applying permissions in manifest file, and we were also using implementing it on the fly. Okay, on the fly means we were implementing it in our activity also. There is a method available in Java for that. See, again, same thing. Okay, read context or permission write context. So in this case, no doubt we have asked permission in manifest file, but it may happen that client has ignored to give the permission. And if client has ignored this permission, our application was installed successfully. But while executing this line, it may happen, Android will think that, it may happen that client has refused to give the permission, So here, before executing this line, our application, if not taken permission, it should check for the permission, and if the permission is not given, it will ask again on the fly. It means dynamically while executing this code, before executing this line, it should ask for the permission. So here we should check if check self permission. Which permission? Android dot permission yeah, we have to put annotation also, equal to 0, then it means permission is not given, then we should take permission, and for that method is available request permissions new string android dot permission dot read context request code is 0. Okay, will do. Okay, here package manager dot permission granted and is not equal to, we are checking that whether the permission is not granted, we are requesting permission. Okay, we are requesting permission. Now we will execute this code. So what we have done here, we have check self permission android.permission.read context, and if this method returns not granted, this method does not return permission granted, it means that while installation of this application, client has not granted the permission to read context. Okay, so again we are requesting the permission. Which permission? Only one, read context, with a request code of 0. Okay, allow. Yeah, now it is asking on the fly. Okay, have you seen that message? It has asked for the read context permission on fly, that is dynamically, and I have allow, but now you can see that no task is appearing because there are no context. Okay, we should write here one message, else no context available. Okay, so you will be more clear because the application is right now running in AVD, and in my AVD there is no context available. Okay, so I am just showing a message to the client, no context available. Okay, let's run it and check it. Okay, as my AVD is not having any context, the application is not showing anything, because we have just write one toast in one condition if the contexts are only available. Now I have put another toast in else part. If contexts are not available, the else part will be executed and we are showing a message that no contexts are available. So before implementing and showing the records in the list view, what will we do? We would add some dummy records in this AVD, and you also have to do the same thing if you are testing the application in your AVD. No context available. Okay, so let me first add some context. Okay, in the context application of this AVD, I will add some records. Where should I add records? Create new contact. Yes, create. Okay. Let me first of all save my own contact. Okay. Okay, save. One record is saved. I will add another record. Okay. Okay. Let me add one more record. Save. Okay. Now I have added two contexts in my context application of the AVD. Now let us test the application which we have just developed. One and Chirag. So it is showing ID as one and name as Chirag. It is not showing the mobile number. For showing the mobile number, we should have some another column here. We should here context dot context dot underscore ID count status let me show you the name. So it is showing first record of the context, and it is showing ID of the record and the name of the record actually, but we want that contact number which is associated with that record in the context table. So If you remember, in my theory lecture I have told you that the context content provider internally stores data in 3 different tables. Okay, so there are 3 different content URIs, and the data is distributed among 3 tables. Because if you remember, whenever we are storing any contact in our mobile, okay, it is asking for many fields. So as there are many fields available, all these fields are distributed among 3 tables. Okay, so basically what happens, the primary details of the contact is stored in first table, and the phone number, if phone number is added to that contact, it is also possible that a contact cannot have a phone number. Okay, as you have seen, just seen it when I have added the record in context. So if particular context has a phone number associated with it, a column named has phone number, a column is there, has phone number, will be representing number of phone numbers associated with that contact. So when we are querying to the context content provider, and when we are reading a particular contact, we should check whether or not any particular phone number is associated with that particular contact or not. If there is a phone number or more than one phone number associated with that context, that phone numbers are available in another table of the context content provider. So in that case, if phone numbers are available, we should again query to that table. Okay, so what should we do here when we are reading a particular contact, as we have done in this video, this example? Okay, we should check one more thing, that whatever context we are reading, whether any context of that particular record is available. Okay, how can we do that? See, here we have query for two columns. Okay, here we have query for 2 columns, that is context ID, which is in this case it was 1, another is display name. One more column I will like to query, and that is context contract dot context dot has phone number. Okay, and here integer numbers equal to, I will like to read the value associated with that particular column, but internally this column is integer. Internally this column has phone number is integer. It will contain the number of phone numbers associated with that particular contact. If it is 0, then we can say that there is no contact associated with this particular column, this particular contact. But if this value is more than 0, it means there are some phone numbers associated, and we should read it. Okay, so before before storing it to numbers, I should pass it to integer. Okay, and then I should check if numbers is greater than or equal to 0, then we can say that phone numbers are associated with that particular contact, and now we want to read that particular records. Okay, but if there are no phone numbers associated with that record, we will simply show a message that no phone numbers associated. Here we will show one message in toast. Okay, that no phone numbers of this contact. But we should show the name. Okay, so let's do one thing. We will write the same statement as it was, but add one line to it, that /n no phone numbers of this contact. Okay, but if there are phone numbers associated with it, we should query again. Okay, for that another table is available in context content provider, and we should name it. We should again querying. We should define another object of cursor. Then content resolver. We should call the query method using content resolver object. Query. First argument is the name of the table. Here the name of the table is context contract dot common data kinds dot context contract dot common data kinds or context dot common data kinds dot content URI. I have written somewhere, yes, here. Yeah, dot font dot content URI dot font dot content URI. Okay, so it is another table which we need to query for phone numbers. Okay, let me write this line here. To retrieve the phone numbers for particular contact. Okay, contact dot common data kinds dot URI. Then the remaining argument, we need all the columns. And now what happens that this table common data kinds dot phone, this table will contain phone numbers of all the contacts stored in the contacts application of the device. But in this case, right now we need the contacts, we need the phone numbers of that particular contact. Okay, so we should write a criteria here that we only need the phone numbers which has some specific relationship with that particular contact, which is right now read in the context table. Okay, so there is one unique table. A primary key is there in the first table, and it is the child table which has foreign key. Okay, we should write the criteria as context contract dot common data kinds dot common data kinds dot font dot contact ID. Yeah, it is contact ID. You can see here contact ID is equal to question mark. And what should be that contact ID? That contact ID should be this ID which we have read here. Let me name it as ID. Okay, it is the ID of the contact which is stored in the contact provider ID. Okay, here also I need to change it and make it correct ID. So I would query here as it is equal to new string dot value of ID. Okay, then remaining columns as null. Okay, yeah. Now when we have written query like this, when we have called query method like this, it will return a cursor which has phone numbers, because we have checked that phone numbers are associated or not, and phone numbers are associated. That's why we have written this query, and it will return a cursor which will have records. So we will run a while loop okay, while cursor dot move to next, okay, and we will define a variable of string buffer is equal to new string buffer, and then we will append here in buffer, we will append the phone numbers associated with this particular contact. We will write here cursor dot get string, but which string we need to give the index. How? We need to ask the index, get column index, then name of that particular column, that is phone number or the number, number. Okay, so this loop will be executed that much time as many phone numbers are there. Okay, and all these phone numbers will be stored in the buffer, and finally we will show this buffer. Okay, so let me write the toast here, which will have ID, name, and then numbers, phone numbers. Okay, phone numbers is equal to here buffer. Okay, so here I should concat /n. Okay, now let's run it. It is very simple. The coding is very simple. What we have done, first of all,